Okay, so in this one, um, probably the first thing that sticks out to me is that I have one that has two outliers on it, and clearly I've got two outliers on here and everything else at the bottom. So number 4, I'm going to go ahead and mark that as B. And then the next thing I notice is I have one that has a long tail to the left. If there were outliers, I would pick this one too, but certainly with that long tail to the left, that's number 1. So 1 is D. And so I have it narrowed down to these two, and you can see that one of them is a little bit higher than the other one. The median's a little about maybe 7, and this one the median is close to 10. Well, this one can't have a median close to 10 because there's just a couple of numbers up there. So 3 is going to go with A. And then that leaves C. Okay, we'll come down to the next one. And in this one, there's only one that's moving up to the right, so 1 is A. And then, let's see here, well, easily number B, minus 0.97. It's going down and everything is pretty close there, so that will be, is that B? Yeah. Go. And so now we have the 0.31 and the 0.57. And it's pretty clear to me that C is the one that goes with the minus 0.57. And this one goes with minus 0.31. It's just a little bit more spread out there. So C is going to go with this one. And then what we're left with there, D for the minus 0.31. Okay, and then we'll move down here, and I'm going to admit that, yeah, I made this one harder than it needed to be. And I would just tell you that on the test, if this one was 10, this is going to be at least 13 or something like that, or down to 5 or 7 or something like that. I won't put them as close as this 21 and 22 are going to be a little hard to get. So anyway, we can get the other two pretty quickly. One of them has 10.1 and a pretty small standard deviation. That's got to be C. Shouldn't have had any problem with that one. And then the one with a little higher standard deviation, around 12 or so, with a small standard deviation. Remember, you're looking at two things, the center and the spread. So for the center, or for the mean, just look to find that in the middle of the data. And for the standard deviation, look to see how far apart the data are. So this one has a small standard deviation and a mean around 12. I think that was A. And so the next two both have standard deviations around 3.5, and one of them has a slightly lower mean than the other one. So let's see if we can figure that out. Well, it looks like this one is shifted just a little bit to the right. It has some higher values here above 18. That one doesn't. And this one has some lower values down here. So D is going to be this one. And B is this one. If you had a little bit of trouble with that, that's not all that surprising. That was actually a fairly difficult one on that one. It's about as difficult as I could make it anyway. I think I'll